Hey guys, my name is Kret, and today I want to talk about farm. Specifically talking about the amount of gold and experience that's available to you on the map. Now, we're not talking about kills. Kills are essentially a renewable resource, right? You can always get more. But buff camps and creeps and objectives, they all have a set respawn timer, and so it doesn't really work the same way. There's a set amount, and being efficient with how you utilize what the map gives you is very important to increasing you and your team's level of play. So to start, let's talk about what happens when you're solo. And there are a variety of different kinds of minions on the map. There are ogres, harpies, melee creeps, and range creeps, right? So these are the harpies that you see at the mid camps and the back camps. These are the ogres in the buff camps, and this is your wave. So when you're solo, you get 65 experience for killing a melee creep and 17 gold. If you last hit, that goes up to 25 gold. You get 50% more. So the first thing you can do is last hit every creep. Range creeps give you slightly less experience in gold. It's 45 experience and 12 gold. Last hit bonus going up to 18. So it's still a 50% increase, just a smaller value to start. So it's also important to mention that there's another kind of creep, which is the sort of big creep, right? Like the on the Joust map, they're like night guys. They're different on each map, but they're like the larger creep. And they're really good against towers. You get more of them as the game progresses, but in terms of golden experience value, they're exactly the same as a regular melee creep. So for our purposes in this video, they don't matter, and we don't need to talk about them. And each wave spawns every 30 seconds, right? And so what this is the experience per minute, gold per minute, and last hit value of your waves. So let's just add that up and show you guys, right? And we'll use experience per minute. So 65 plus 65 plus 65 plus 45 plus 45 plus 45. Bam. 330 per wave, 2 waves per minute, 660 experience per minute, just from sitting in lane and absorbing experience. In terms of gold, you get 258 gold per minute, assuming you lasted every creep. The other thing to mention is gold spooling. And let's put that over here. Gold spooling. 180. You get 180 gold per minute completely for free. That's 3 gold per second, which is pretty nice. And so now let's talk about what happens if you're in a duo, right? So here we go. Bam, duo. Slightly different values, right? Big harpy here, it gives you 105, and here it gives you 140. The gold, well, it only gives you 22 as opposed to 45, but with Bombas, you're getting the gold value as if you were solo, right? So Bombas 45, Bombas 13, Bombas 65, Bombas 13. That's pretty cool. Last hit value doesn't go as if you were solo, right? You're still getting it split. So a melee creep that gives you 17 gold solo if you last hit it up to 25. Duo, it gives you 8 gold, and if you last hit, it goes up to 12. So it's still an increase, it's still important, especially when we account for Watcher's Gift. So let's talk about Bombas and Watcher's Gift real quick. 2 starter items that increase your farm. That's what they do. So Watcher's Gift, first of all, gives you a static amount of gold per 5. It gives you 12 gold per minute. Doesn't seem like much, but whatever, it's nice. And then it also gives you the last hit bonuses of anyone with you. So what that means is there's a last hit value of 12 here, right? As opposed to 8, which means you're getting more value from your melee creeps. So you would normally get, what, 8 plus 8 plus 8 plus 6 plus 6 plus 6, 42 gold per wave. Well, you actually get 1.5 of that from the last hit. You get 63. There are 2 waves per minute. So you're getting 126, which means you're getting an extra 42 gold per minute. Watcher's Gift gives the support, the person who's not last hitting, an equal value, that extra 42 gold per minute, which is pretty nice. When you add the 12, you're getting 54 GPM from this item, which is certainly a nice amount. It's not quite as good as Midas Boots, which is, I I think it's 60 gold per minute. I think it's 60. Should be 60. 2 versions. We'll come back to that. Bumba's Mask gives you the solo gold value even if you're sharing. And if you have an ally nearby, you get the normal gold value as if you were solo, right? So they're going to get 22 gold from the Harpy. You get 45. So it's a nice little increase. And minus yours, yeah, 5 gold per 5. So it's 60 per minute. Cool. So those increase your gold farm. And that's great. That's really handy. Because the thing to remember is there's a set amount of gold on the map. So, for example, let's take a look at a buff camp, right? A buff camp has 1 big ogre and 2 small ogres. So we'll do this. Bam. This is our buff camp. And we're splitting it here. And you know what? We'll copy in it solo as well. And bam. So here's our buff camp if we're splitting, and here's if we're solo, right? So if we're solo, we're gonna get 185 plus 22 plus 22, so 229 experience, 9 XP, and 65 plus 13 plus 13, so 65 plus 26, 91 gold. 91 gold. If we're duoing it, right? Well, 138 plus 16 plus 16. That's 170 experience. And then you're getting 32 plus 6 plus 6. So 32 plus 12 is 44. 44 gold. On one player. The other player is getting 170 experience. He has a Bumba's Mask, so he's getting 91 gold. So this is just giving your team 44 extra gold. And a lot of extra experience too, right? 170 times 2 divided by 229. So it's a 48.5% increase in terms of experience. And you're also getting 44 more gold, which is slightly less than half. I think it's about 47%. 48%. Okay. So when you split a buff camp, you're getting about 50% more experience and about 50% more gold as a team. When you split a wave, well, we have the value right here. It gives you 486 gold per minute as an individual. There's 2 people getting it, so it's 972. Divide that by 660. It's a 47% increase in terms of the amount of experience you're getting from that wave. Now, in terms of gold, assuming 1 player is last hitting, they get 126. Assuming the other player doesn't have watchers, they get 210. And so that's less than the last hit value of a solo player clearing the wave. So you are sacrificing some gold, but you're getting significantly more experience. So what this means is, in the early game, you kind of want to share as much as possible, right? And that's why junglers and solo laners and mid laners, obviously supports, but really recently jungle solo laners and mid laners have been working together to clear all of the camps and share every wave. The jungler is sharing every wave he can. He is always at a wave, and then he's clearing camps with other people just to make things more efficient and boost up his team's experience and gold per minute in the early game. That's super important. So what else is there on the map? We've established that there are 3 waves. They are giving people... Well, actually, you know what? Let's actually math out this value, right? So, waves. We said what? It's 972. So this is duo wave. So 486 times 2 is 972 EXP min plus it was 126 times 2 because, well, you know, our support's sharing it, right? 252 gold per minute. And then our jungle wave, whichever wave our jungler is sharing, still 972 experience per minute. But it's going to be slightly less gold per minute. It's going to be 210, I believe. But I want to double check that. Nice. Okay. And then someone's soloing, right? You can't share everything. So Let's just add it all up. 660 plus 972 plus 972, 2604, 2604, and then what's this is 210 plus 252 plus 258. 720. Cool. So, and I would like to point out that the Watcher's gift value here is very close to the last hit value here. It's not as good for the individual player, but it's really close as a team. So your team is getting about 2,600 gold and 720, or 2,600 experience and 720 gold as a team every minute just from clearing their waves. So what can your team do to boost this? Well, there are a ton of objectives on the map, right? And I've got a handy little list here. It's got towers, phoenixes, gold furies, fire giants, first blood. First blood's 200, so getting an extra 200 gold. And the thing is, this is well, first blood's unique, right? Because it's only going to a single player, and then it's getting assisted. And assist stuff is like not super public information, but so 200 gold gets to the player who gets that kill, and then it's split. It's not really a global objective, so it's not really what we're interested in for here. Tier 1 tower, 500 gold for the team. This is the value for an individual player, so it's 500 gold, 500 experience for the team. That's pretty nice. And then when you start to look at stuff like the Gold Fury and like the Phoenix, or the Gold Fury and Tier 2 towers and stuff like that, 1,500 gold in a lump sum is essentially an entire minute of farming. It's 2 minutes of farming, right? Like, we're like, yeah, so 720 gold just from clearing all the waves as duos. And then there's jungles, and let's throw that in there, let's double it. So yeah, the Gold Fury, roughly a minute of farm just instantly gone to your team. You're now a minute ahead of your opponents across the board. That's really cool. That's really powerful. So, yeah, because this doesn't account for the spooling gold here. Your team's going to get a nice large amount of spooling gold on top of that. So these objectives definitely massively increase the amount of gold you're getting, and it's not even just sort of an early game thing. Like, early game, that Gold Fury can feel like a lot more for sure, but your gold value isn't really increasing substantially. Your gold per minute isn't really increasing substantially over the course of the game. Sure, kills can augment it, but aside from objectives, there's not much on the map that's inaccessible when you're low level, right? You can clear all the jungle camps. You can do them fairly easily. They get harder as the game continues, but it's all there. So these objectives are obviously very important, but really what I'm trying to get at here, and what I want you to take away, is just the value of sharing, right? The map has a set number of resources on it with a set number of respawn times. They're here. This is roughly what your team gets. You get 3 waves. Each have 3 melee minions and 3 archers. That's every 30 seconds. And that's going to be a large bulk of your farm. You get 1 mid-camp. What's a mid-camp actually worth? Well, to a solo player, it's worth about 280 gold and, 280 experience and 90 gold. So, basically an extra creep wave, right? It's really smaller than it seems, but it definitely helps. The back harpies. This, I think, is actually something that people don't realize how useful they are. Yeah, it's not as good as a mid-camp, right? But they're spawning significantly more often. So, on a set of back harpies, well, instead of getting 2 big harpies, right? And it's really an experience thing. Instead of getting 2 big harpies, you're getting 2 small harpies and a big harpy, right? So, 140 times 2, so 280 experience and 90 gold versus 40 plus 22 plus 22. 184 experience. So it's 100 less experience, but plus 13, not that much less gold, right? It's like 19 less gold. So these back harpies, in terms of your gold farm in the early game, are actually really important. And one of the biggest things you can do when taking into account these respawn timers, right, is getting them on cooldown. Always having the back harpies down. always having those buff camps down. Not only does that prevent your opponents from invading you and taking that farm away from you and giving it to themselves, which is of course incredible, it makes sure that it's coming up a little bit more often, so you're getting more gold, right? Because back harpies, for example, right? What did we say? 71 gold per back harpy. So what does that come out to per minute, right? Because they respawn every 100 seconds. So 71 times 0.6 is 42 gold per minute. It's the amount that Watcher's Gift gives you from last hitting, but not from the passive gold per 5. So it's 42 gold per minute if you get that on cooldown. But the moment you wait for that, this value decreases. It becomes less valuable because you're getting it less often. So it's really important to make sure those are taken in cooldown. And that's an optimization that can be made at all levels of play. It's not hard to clear a back harpy camp. Pretty much everyone can do it. Like, even high damage supports can do it without hogging, right? You know, like one of the more aggressive supports like Ymir or Kabrakan. In some cases, even like Geb. So it's super important to make sure those are cleared. That's one of the biggest places that a lot of teams and a lot of players can improve. But mostly, what it comes down to, once you get past the math and past all these numbers, share everything you can. Share your buff camps. Share all of them. Bumba's Mask is amazing because it gives you slightly more gold, right? And significantly more experience as a team. So share all your buff camps. Share your mid harpies if you can. Share your back harpies if you can. Share every wave. I mean, obviously that's not possible. There aren't 6 people on the map. But share every wave you can. Even 3-way sharing a wave isn't that bad. You get less gold because the last hit value's decreased, right? Like, a melee creep in a 3-way shared wave is worth 5 gold. So the last hit value of that creep goes up to, I think, 7. I think it rounds down. So the last hit value goes up to 7, and that's not that much. You're getting, what, like an extra, I think it's like 12 gold per wave? Something like that. Or it's like 24 gold per minute from last hitting as a bonus, as opposed to like when you're solo and it's like 70. So last hitting becomes less important, and you're losing gold there. But in terms of experience, it's actually even with doing a wave. So sharing is super important. Make sure every wave is shared. Make sure every camp is killed on cooldown. And don't be afraid. Like, taking towers is super good. They don't respawn, so they're not listed here, but here they are, right? Tier 2 towers, 300 gold. This is the exact same value as a Gold Fury. So Tier 2 tower for a Gold Fury is an even trade. Towers don't respawn and Gold Furies do every 5 minutes, but, you know, that's super important. The other thing is Phoenixes. Phoenixes are a renewable resource of infinite gold, right? Every time you kill a Phoenix, each player gets 150 gold. There are 5 players, so that's 750 gold for your team. Every time you kill a Phoenix, you get this value. Every time. And they get easier to kill. So if you're having trouble closing out a game, obviously there's a lot going on there, and it's a very complex situation, but just killing more Phoenixes and getting more gold can maybe give you the edge you need. Don't forget to keep farming your back harpies, though. That's a really nice, important gold value as well. You know, so let's say there's a 40-minute game, right? There are 60 seconds in a minute. So that's 24 back harpy spawns. Right? That's 24 times that your team can pick up 71 gold, which is 1,704 gold. That's the value of a Gold Fury on a single back harpy camp taken on cooldown over the course of an entire game. Really important optimizations. Because the thing about MOBAs is farming your map is super important for efficiency. Kills are great, but you can just make up that value by farming better than your opponents. And invading is a huge part of that as well, because you're taking resources away from them. So yeah, if you can invade their jungle first, but then clear your back harpies. So that's my video. If you have any questions on Gold Farm, or you want access to any numbers, let me know. I don't think there's really... I'll put up the gold values that I have here for you guys. And let me know if you have any questions. What should my next video be on? I have some ideas. I want to talk about starter items tomorrow, and I felt I really needed to do this before I talked about that. But let me know. Drop a comment down below, like, subscribe, etc. If you like what I'm saying, follow me on Twitter, twitter.com/Kretata, and I will talk to you guys tomorrow.